There is undeniably a great array of reasons for the deterioration of man's spiritual state, but among the greatest of such destructive influences is undeniably the advent of technology. Due to the immense influence of technological advancement, the Western man is more entertained than he has ever been before. Entertainment, through the development of technology, has become so potent that the desire for everything else has become blunted. Romance, love, art, friends, family, poetry, philosophy, and religion, all these things were once deeply interesting and compelling to the average person. But today, we have lost our interest and care for such things. Once, a normal experience of life consisted only of what was in front of you. There existed no world behind a screen and no false reality to draw you from the immediacy of your experience. There was only life itself. But today, there is an endless source of adventure and entertainment behind a small handheld screen that sits in the pocket of every man and every woman. Today, it is statistically normal to spend 5 to 8 hours on a phone per day, which is to say, the majority of conscious free time. Social media and video sharing platforms have implemented a highly sophisticated algorithm that has one single aim: to get a human being to stare at a screen for as long as possible. This technology has become so effective at keeping the attention of a human being for one simple reason. Time and attention is currency. Attention equates to advertisement revenue. Consequently, any means by which attention can be extracted and held is a means by which wealth can be produced. Western capitalistic society selects for those companies that do this predatory task the best, and this doesn't only extend to video sharing platforms. This is equally true for video games, social media, pornography, and every other form of entertainment that can be made for a human mind. Let us consider, for example, the phenomenon of video games, not from a contemporary perspective, but from the perspective of psychology. Video games replace a need that we cannot meet. Video games, like all other forms of entertainment, target a particular side of human nature. In this case, it is a man's desire for adventure, heroism, and combat. These are the natural desires of a man that forged a path through the darkness of the unknown for humanity. It is these drives that push a man to become a great warrior and to valiantly protect his family and his friends from the forces that would destroy them. But an experience of adventure, danger, and combat is greatly lacking in the modern world. Today, there is no danger, at least not in the immediately physical sense. Today, our danger is not physical but spiritual. However, man remains of a physical being and nature, and by an absence of physical danger, so man has lost the anvil by which the sword of his soul was struck and sharpened. Now, man sits with his sword blunted, alone, isolated, and without a calling to adventure or heroism. Man has conquered the world, subdued nature, and created a satisfaction for his every need and every desire. But we have forgotten that it was not the fulfillment of desire that was most important to man, but the quality of his soul. The desire to find oneself in the fires of sacrifice and adventure burn more brightly now in the spirit of man than it ever did before, because it is precisely that which we do not have. That is why young men spend so much time on video games. It is not because they are lazy, it is not because they are childish. It is because in the hearts of each of these men there lies the soul of a warrior and a hero. There lies an immense desire to find purpose in the serendipity of a great journey. In much the same way that young men are so drawn to video games, so too are they drawn to pornography. However, the drive to reproduce is far more potent than the desire for combat and adventure. Sex is arguably the most powerful and fundamental desire of a living organism, and has been developed over a great span of evolution as a great biological priority. And yet, we live in an age with access to machines that simulate sex almost perfectly, with near zero effort and no risk. The modern state of pornography is beyond what any of our ancestors ever experienced and completely eclipses what human nature has developed from. Today, a 12-year-old boy with an iPhone can see more beautiful naked women presenting themselves for sex in 5 minutes than a great king of the past would ever see in his entire life. Allow that fact to detonate in your head, and you will start to understand what it is that we have created. On a physical level, man desires perhaps nothing more than connection, love, and sex with a woman. Normally, the natural potency of a man's eros would accumulate and vitalize his being until the point that he meets a beautiful woman. Then, the great accumulation of such energy would find purpose in such a woman, manifesting in great expressions of passion, love, and greatness. Today, however, the life force that we call sexuality and eros has become weak, destroyed by the advent of pornography. A healthy man desires sex in the same way he desires to breathe. It is a deep, natural part of what he is, and it is a nature he cannot escape. Today, however, there exists the option for never-ending, risk-free, highly personalized sexual stimulus 5 seconds away at any time. Today, the modern man attempts to find connection and love with a woman with an eros and sexuality that is essentially crippled. He must every day live with the constant presence of a sexual parasite. This parasite, made possible through modern technology, drains a weak man of his eros every night before he goes to bed. It is always there in his pocket, always waiting behind a phone screen or a computer monitor, always tempting, always provoking desire. We, in our greed and arrogance, have fulfilled our desire but destroyed its purpose. We have created a dragon, so to speak, that consumes the eros that brings man and woman together. A dragon that must be slain by the virtues of discipline, wisdom, and humility. This dynamic of human need and nature extends also to our desire to socialize. In our evolutionary development, social interaction was an unavoidable constant. We lived first in tribes, then in farming communities, settlements, and similar social arrangements. Always, the human being was connected to a social whole through the intrinsic arrangement of society and culture. But for the modern man, a functional social culture is but a distant memory. Now, we live as one isolated house amongst a sea of others. Today, it is unusual to even know the person that lives 2 houses down from you. However, this is highly toxic to the nature of the human psyche. As human beings, we need to engage the same group of people repeatedly in order to feel like we have a tribe, a community, and a belonging. It is unnatural to only interact with 1 or 2 friends and your family alone. And once again, this desire and the absence of its fulfillment has been targeted for its potential to capture attention and generate revenue. Social media advertises itself as being a way to increase your social interaction. At the instinctual level, social media provokes the belief that it is a basic necessity for socializing in the modern age. However, when one begins to seriously examine whether this is the case, he will find that this perspective is not based on truth, but rather the manipulation of one's instincts. The truth is that nothing less than the face-to-face engagement with many people on a daily basis is sufficient for the social needs of a human being. Social media cannot and will never be able to replicate the real-life face-to-face interaction with a tribe of people on a regular basis. However, it will continue to simulate socialization with a remarkable potency and will remain a source of addiction that will never quite satisfy the needs of a human being. Fundamentally, the goal of everything associated with digital entertainment and software is to draw you away from your real life. The only reason why the smartphone exists primarily is for the acquisition of your conscious attention, because it makes money. And we cannot resist this. The truth is that when it comes to the repeated temptation of the instincts over long periods of time, if you can, you will. A young man will play video games, watch Instagram reels, and pornography. We all have a nature that will, sooner or later, surmount the powers of our conscious control. The human intellect can develop a nuclear fusion reactor, vehicles that can fly to the moon, and technology that manipulates physics on a quantum scale. Do you really think that the human intellect cannot figure out a way to keep you staring at your phone? Video games, social media, pornography, and so forth are by themselves a great enough threat to psychological health. However, they are made far worse by another problem, and that is the absence of these things in modern culture. Today, it is remarkably difficult to find a compelling journey, to connect with other people, and to find a good partner. The sword has been replaced by the drone. The church has been replaced by the shopping center. Love has been replaced by hedonism. Video games would not be so addictive for young men if they were protecting their family from wolves or preparing to defend a castle from barbarians. Social media wouldn't be so enticing if every day we depended on each other for our survival and not the machinations of supermarkets or electrical power grids. Pornography would not be so deadly if we spent every day with the same group of people and if love and connection came naturally. Not only is the entertainment created by technology extremely potent, but it is also filling a void. We have conquered the wolves, the barbarians, the need for food, and the need to be connected to other people to survive. We no longer depend on such things. But what have we done to ourselves in the meantime? Unwittingly, we have severely damaged our humanity. To be human is to be connected to other people, to know God, to love art and poetry, and to feel our souls dance in the fire of a great journey. There is, however, a way to protect the human nature. There is a way to avoid the catastrophic effects of technology on the natural balance of the human psyche, and that is to eliminate it from your life. If an honest and diligent approach is taken to the elimination of such psychological threats, then it is possible to escape its reach and ultimately to more easily find inner peace and a connection to the soul, to people, and to God. However, the vast majority of people will be unable to do this. Why? Because they are addicted and controlled by the technology they use. They will fabricate excuses, reasons, and lies as to why they must keep their technology. But the truth is that there is nothing a smartphone does that is truly essential. Man can quite easily live without it. However, the modern man is convinced that his technology is absolutely essential, not due to a careful and honest rationality, but instead an emotional dependence that has been born from incredibly sophisticated technology that is designed to keep him staring at a screen. It is because, in truth, he is completely and hopelessly addicted to scrolling reels, jerking off to porn, playing video games, and generally wasting time on mindless entertainment. To such men, even the mere suggestion that he should rid himself of technology creates an immensely negative reaction of frustration and anger. He recoils, protesting to himself, "Why can I not have it? I want it. I do what I want." Just like a certain hobbit named Smeagol when he happened upon a harmless little ring. As if predicting the future, the author of Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien, said that his inspiration for the ring was originally derived from his experience of technology. Way back when cars were being invented, Tolkien became so frightened of technology that he thought it was an appropriate inspiration for a ring forged by Sauron that works through the temptation and corrupts the soul. If Tolkien were alive today, what would he say of what we have created? Of the smartphone? Of the computer? The development of technology has drawn us away from what it means to be human. It is undeniably a battle for the soul of the human race.